Greetings. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. The Phoenix rises, and that means a new beginning is on the way. The Kundalini energy at this time is also rising. So you may be experiencing a certain surge or rise in sexual energy. In other words, today and yesterday and maybe tomorrow, you're probably experiencing an unusual rise in horniness. Why is that? Well, there are times throughout the year where the energy peaks and the energy falls. It's a flow, it's a balance. And it just so happens that today is the peak of one of those times. So, I think that this would be an excellent opportunity to go over a common and very useful technique for charging sigils, and that is sex magic. So, sex magic doesn't have to be done with two or more people. It can be done solo, because the whole point is the orgasm, and I'll begin to explain. So, magic comes from the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the generator of reality, and the subconscious mind is a symbol-based operating system. So the subconscious mind is manipulated in three primary ways. That is through symbols, that's through repetition, and that is through trauma. Okay, in my previous videos, I talked a lot about symbols. I've talked a lot about repetition, but this is where the aspect of trauma comes into play. A symbol is any item or object, visual, audio, or otherwise, that is a representation of something else. A sigil, a meme, right? That's a symbol. Repetition, we know, is something that is said, repeated, or performed over and over and over again, right? A symbol being an image that represents something else, it's almost like a Trojan horse. It bypasses the conscious mind and enters the subconscious mind, right? Because you've got two minds. You've got the subconscious mind, like I said, that's the generator of your reality. Then you have the conscious mind, which is the active perceiver of your reality. Now, the conscious mind inherently understands the power of the subconscious mind. So it acts as a filter and doesn't let everything pass through. If you research studies that talk about the cognitive mind, it is proven that most stimulus is rejected by the conscious mind. There are so many things going on around us at all times, but we don't acknowledge it. Because if we did, this would be a different existence. Anyway, and the system wouldn't operate the way it's supposed to. But we're changing all that. So when we get to symbols, it bypasses that filter, right? Because you see a picture of a unicorn, and it bypasses the conscious mind, because the conscious mind thinks it already knows what a unicorn is. But given the context, given the ritual, the message gets to the subconscious mind and the result is achieved. Just like when you evoke a spirit, you stare into that sigil, you're tapping into the super subconscious mind that rules over everyone, and that is called the morphic grid, or the morphogenic field. And we'll get into that also later. Now, repetition, that deals with the synapses. It deals with the mind. If you do something over and over again in the same way, that begins to build what's called a myelin sheath in between synapses, right? You've got two synapses and you've got the bridge in between that relays information. Through repetition, you begin to build what we call the myelin sheath, which allows the information to pass through, to zip through much faster, because through repetition, you've memorized these different actions, so you don't have to do them every time. That's why in the beginning, you want to do your ritual more than once. Not out of doubt, but you continue to do the ritual out of practice, right? You practice tapping in, accessing the energy, getting into the meditative state, right? Getting into the zone, basically. So as a beginning occultist, yeah, you want to do the ritual multiple times. As you get better with this, you can do the ritual once and forget about it, because you've tapped into the energy, you understand and know how it feels. The third way to get to the subconscious mind is through trauma. What is trauma? Trauma is an emotional spike that happens in correlation and context to an event. So if something happens that traumatizes you, every time that symbolic event rises again or anything like it, it accesses the part in your subconscious mind and in your emotional body, and it brings up those memories. For example, if you were in a car accident when you were younger and it traumatized you, you probably have a fear about driving near the place that you got in the accident, or on highways or whatever. You know, you'll always wear your seatbelt, you might have flashbacks, you have certain fears associated with that, because that image, that symbol of riding in a vehicle relates to that car accident. And that's something that you'd have to work on by going back into your mind and detaching those negative emotions with that situation. But it doesn't always have to be negative, which is what this video is about. Programming sigils through orgasm. Now, I mentioned earlier in the video, the energy of the Phoenix is rising right now. And that also correlates to the energy of the Kundalini spiraling upward, right? When these surges happen, it's like an automatic wave that everyone is riding. Most people don't notice when it happens, but certain days you may feel a little bit more up to it than others. And this is reflected in the sky through certain connections that Mars and Venus and Pluto has. Okay, but anyways, what you want to do in these times is really take advantage of this energy and use it towards your ritual. So, essentially, the concept of sex magic is that you have your purpose already set up, right? This is how any ritual goes, anyways. The main setup for any ritual, it goes in 3 steps because you're accessing 3 levels, right? The reality exists on the mental level, then it presses down to form the energetic level, which is the spirit, then that presses down and forms the physical level, right? A prerequisite for physical is the spirit, and a prerequisite for spirit is mental, mind. There has to be an intent, and an intent that is focused and fully charged begins to gather spiritual energy. Spiritual energy that begins to gather more and more and more force presses down into the world of form and creates a physical response. This is cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. This is why you should have no doubt in your magic, because when you set out the cause and you act on it, it will produce an event, no matter what. The problem is most young occultists fail because they are looking for something else. They're not paying attention to the small results, to the little things. You got to start small. Whether you're training to play basketball or play violin, you got to start small. And you got to celebrate your little victories, because as you celebrate your little victories, it prepares your mind and your body to achieve bigger victories, right? You start to build that myelin sheath between the synapses, right? Every time you celebrate your little victory, it makes you want to achieve another victory because it feels good. You're getting that small emotional spike. So you do it again, and you get a bigger emotional spike. And you keep going and going and going for that emotional spike. The same way that we get addicted to drugs, we keep chasing that high, except when it happens naturally, right? Through the natural chemicals that are already produced in your body, it doesn't degrade, it only gets more powerful. So the more that you celebrate your little victories in magic, that's why we always tell you to take notes, right? To write down the rituals. Today I did XYZ, right? I have an idea for this ritual. I did this ritual. Let's see what happens. Now every little thing that you get, write it down. Doesn't matter if it's mundane. Doesn't matter if you feel like you're just, reaching for results. Write it down anyways. Because it doesn't matter if you're reaching for results. If you see results, write it down. What you're doing is you're training your mind, your conscious mind, to stay on the lookout for spiritual progress. That's why you want to write down your dreams. The only way that you're going to begin to decode and understand your dreams is if you're writing them down and taking notes. The only way that you're going to see your progress in magic is if you're writing down your rituals and then you write down anything that could be a result for it. You're not going to see a giant flaming demon pop out in the corner, but you may see different things that relate to the demon's correspondence or the angel's correspondence, right? All right, so let's get to it. So the purpose, like I said before, is to align the 3 worlds of mental, spirit, and physical. All right, so you want to have the intent for your ritual. You want to do something to gather the spiritual energy. Then you want to do something on the physical realm that connects all 3. Then you leave it alone. What happens during orgasm is that your body produces a rush of chemicals that for a moment puts you into the exact zone that you need to be to access all three worlds lined up at once. For most men, for a split second, you're able to shoot up and down all three of those worlds and have a connection. Most females, not only are y'all able to stay there a little bit longer, you're also able to return there a lot quicker. So use that to your advantage. When you're doing your ritual, have the purpose, have the intent, have it clearly defined, right? If you are ready to leave your job and you want more money so you can leave that job and live a different lifestyle, you need to have this a little bit more clarified. Do you want to be running your own business? Do you want to be, do you want a different job? Clarify where this money is coming from. Clarify where this energy is going to flow through, what channel it's going to flow through, right? If you're looking for more sex, then you're going to need to clarify what type of partner you're looking for. You need to clarify the channel that this energy is going to flow through. So you pick your intent, you pick a channel that this intent is going to manifest in your life. Don't be too strict. It's an art to it. You want to be kind of vague, but kind of specific. You know what I'm saying? Don't just say, I want money. Say, I want money to come through a new business venture that involves selling products on Amazon or whatever. I mention that a lot, don't I? Pick your channel, clarify it. Next, gather up the emotions. Get into the zone where you visualize what life is like when you have that certain amount of money, or when you're with that partner, or when you have that thing that you're doing this ritual for. Visualize deeply the feelings associated with having it. What are you going to do on a daily basis with this thing? What does life look like for you now that you have all these things? Put yourself there. Let those feelings come about, and you grab hold of them and you bring them all in the same place. You gather all that energy up. This is visualization. This is path working. All right. If you're dealing with a demon or an angel or any other type of spirit, visualize yourself there with that spirit, communicating with that spirit. This is just going on in your head. Do your ritual, get there, etc., etc., etc. Right? Now, after you've got your intent, after you've gathered the emotional energy, the visualization, and all that good stuff, now is the part that takes place in the physical. So, when it comes to sex magic, if you're doing this with a partner or two, you want to make sure that these people are also focused on the same intention. Y'all can take turns. It's your turn for the intent, my turn for the intent. It's better if y'all have the same intent and you keep repeatedly charging it. But anyways, everyone needs to be focused and on the same page. And if you're doing this solo, it's easier because it's just you. When you commence with the sexual act, whether it is lovemaking or masturbation, you can think about whatever you want, whatever it takes to get off. It doesn't have to be related to the magic at all, but it helps if it's related to the intent. It helps, but it's not necessary. So go through the process, have your fun, but as you're getting to the climax, as you're getting to the point, remember why you're doing this. It's easy to forget because you get wrapped up in the body, but as you get there, notice what's about to happen. Now, right when you are about to hit orgasm and you're not able to hold it back anymore, when it's on autopilot, when it's just going forth, this is where you got to realize for a split second, you're no longer in control. The subconscious mind is now open. So right when it sparks, when it peaks, when it hits, when it flames up, when that phoenix starts to burn, that's where you visualize the sigil that you have programmed your intent with. You visualize that sigil, whether it's a goetic sigil of a demon, whether it's an angelic sigil from the 72 angels of Magick, or whether it's an image of something, whether it's that image that you visualize of you in the future sense being in that place you're trying to be at. Visualize it clearly while you're orgasming, while you're coming. Stay in that zone or stay focused on that image. Just hold on to it. Hold on to it tightly. You don't have to do anything extra special. But if you do have control over yourself, you can think an intent with it. But it's best to be simple, right? If it's just that image, hold it. Visualize, if you can, you don't have to, but this is extra, this is bonus. If you can, visualize your energy shooting upward through your chakra points. Visualize the Kundalini energy rising up, right? If you're well versed on the Kundalini, you can quickly visualize all the centers glowing and visualize that energy shooting up, all of them into your crown, and visualize it shooting forth, right? Rashida, one of the members of the Magus Society, gave me an awesome tip where she says that when that energy comes out the top of the crown, she visualizes an egg, right? So visualize all that energy if you can. You don't have to. Just focus on the sigil if that's all you can handle. But if you're a little bit more advanced, as you're orgasming, visualize the energy coming up your chakras, reaching the crown, and manifesting inside of an egg. And within this egg is going to be born your result, right? And just hold on to it and let that energy be released into the atmosphere. Now, as you do this, you're adding to that magic. You're adding to the result, right? So like I said, you can do this solo, you can do this with other people, but that is the basic concept of charging your sigils through orgasm, sex magic essentially. So like I said, now since sex energy, the horniness is higher than usual, now would be a good time to take advantage of this. It can work for anything. It can work for charging up your created magical entity. It can be used to charge up a goetic spirit, an angel. It can be used to manifest something general, right? It doesn't have to be for a demon or an angel or a tulip or egregore. It can just be for an opportunity to manifest or a new lifestyle or just whatever. The more that you add to it, the stronger it gets, right? You can even visualize after the egg is hatched, you can just kind of set it somewhere else and say, I'm going to charge, say you can charge this every day for a week or for a month and just keep charging it, setting it away. And then whenever you're finished on that last ritual, imagine that egg bursting and shooting forth. Good stuff, good stuff. I mean, honestly, you can do this every time you orgasm from now on. Because it works. It really works. If you need more information than this simple yet fully covered topic that I just did, you can look on Google. There's plenty of stuff on Reddit or anywhere else on this topic. So yeah, get to work, charge up your phoenix, charge up your unicorn, charge up whatever magical entity you've got going on, charge up the Goetia, manifest, manifest, manifest. Now is the time. Now is the time. Do it. Do not wait. Don't play around with it. Don't think about it. Don't toy with it. If you got the books and you're reading, go ahead and try something. You can only read for so long, and you can only ask me or other people, hey, am I ready? You know you're ready. Go do it. Go do it. The only way to learn truly is through experience, right? Who taught the shaman or the wizard or the magician when there weren't any books? Spirit taught us, right? So these books are just a reminder. You don't need the books. You don't need to be ready. You need to just jump out there and do it. So if you are somebody that's on the fence and you're about to type in my comments, hey, am I ready? Yes, you're ready. Do it. I just gave you the easiest way, because this is the easiest way to charge sigils, because you're going to do this anyways. Instead of thinking about that person that you're orgasming to and giving that energy away, because more than likely it's some random person on the internet who took their clothes off. Now you're sending all that powerful energy to them along with everyone else who's jerking off, and it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't do anything, right? Instead, take your energy and charge your own intention. It's your energy. Okay, so I think I've covered everything I need to cover about this subject. Check out my other videos, because I got topics on the other questions you're probably going to ask. Go for it. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777.